Okay, so this video is going to be making the cover for the whole thing. So I have already taken and covered my pieces with score tape, and my chipboard is double thickness. So in the cutting guide you'll see where you're going to cut 2 of the spine, and this is 5.5. This is 5.5 by 9, and then you're going to cut 4 pieces that are 8.5 by 9, and I put 2 and 2 together so it gives it a nice sturdy feel to it. Tamara did one book where she doubled the chipboard on it, the cover, and ever since I did that one, I have just done it to all my books. I just really like, other than that, everything is the same way built. I just love the way it feels. It feels nice and sturdy, and I don't know, it's just my personal preference. So anyway, I have doubled all my chipboard. I've already glued them together, and I use my Beacons 3-in-1, and then I've also put my score tape all over them. And I used the 6x6 in the center and then just kind of put some on the outside. I did this one here, and then I just put 1 inch around it, which pretty much covered it in. So to begin with, I already got my score tape on my pieces of cardstock as well. So I took these, and this is 1/2 inch score tape. So the measurements should work out to where if you take your 1/2 inch off here and you lay this up on the edge here and your 1/2 inch off on this piece and stick it down here, then this distance should be right for what you need. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to pull off this side. I need to just cut this little bit off of here so I can stick this down. So I'm going to take this piece, and my line is my score tape. There's one seam. And over here, this one I did all the way down. This one's going to go down here, and then we're going to stick this on here. So I did it to where my spine is going to be all one piece, and it's going to overlap both the front and the back. Okay, so I've attached those 2 pieces there. So now I'm going to be able to start. I'll be able to put this piece in here, this cover in there, and then I'm going to put a piece of 1/4 inch score tape down here, and then this piece, the spine, will go in. So it'll have like 1/4 inch right there, and then another 1/4 inch, and then this piece will go in. And it almost looks like I probably will end up with a little bit of gap. So I think I'll set my chipboard in just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by putting this piece on. And by doubling your chipboard, obviously it makes it thicker. So the way I've got this cut, instead of measuring the 9 and then just doing it 1/2 and 1/2, making it 10, I did 10 1/4. So you're going to lift it up off of the bottom a little bit. So I need to get this off of there. Almost put it down with that on there. Okay, so there's that one. And I have it up, see, just about 1/8 of an inch, because, oops, you can't see it. There's 1/8 of an inch about there. Because when you fold this up, if you leave it 1/2 inch and you don't leave a little bit of a gap when you fold this up, you're not going to have much to stick around the inside here. And you want it to be plenty to come up there. So then I'm going to take my 1/4" score tape right here, and I'm going to put this. I love to space this way because then my spacing is the same, and it's not a guessing game for me. So I'm going to put a 1/4" score tape there. Okay, and then I'm going to take this piece. Let's see which way do I want to go. I guess it really doesn't matter. Oh, I don't want that whole thing to come off of there. So now this piece I'm going to put right up against that, and I want this to kind of stay straight, so I take my ruler and I push it up against there. So this is going to go right up against that score tape. And then again, I'm going to put another piece of 1/4" score tape along here. Peel this off. And then peel this off. Oops. And again, this is going to go up against that score tape. Okay. Okay, so that everything is down. Use the side of my bone folder to. Okay. And then you can use, if you've got the perfect trim ruler, you can do that. If not, just trim off, leave yourself close to 1/4 inch there so that you can cover your corners when you fold your paper up. And then what I do is I take my scoring tool, bone folder, and I run it along the edge here to help give me a little bit of a groove to fold it on, so that when I go to fold my paper, it's got a little bit of a score line to fold on. Okay, and then you should do your long edges first. And I will stand it up, and I will go all the way along. And then I will go ahead and fold it over with my fingers. And then I come in and I do it again this way before I actually peel my paper off. Get myself some good score lines going on. Flip it around, do the same thing on the other side. By running your bone folder across the top like this, you smooth it out, get it nice and square. I'm going to fold that over with my hands, and then I'm going to run my scoring tool across the top of it. And then we're going to want to do this here. Same thing. Make it nice and smooth, and then fold this over, get it trained, so that when you're actually doing this, it doesn't, you keep it nice and snug. Okay, so when you do this part of it, I always do the both long edges and then come back and do the sides. So I'm going to peel off. I put my tape on so that I could peel off this 1/2 inch around the edge. And then I got to get it off around here too. Kind of did double duty with the score tape just because I wanted to make sure I had real good coverage. And I'll leave the sides on for right this second. Okay, so there's the top and the bottom. And so again, I'm going to fold this up, take my fingers and push this down. Go ahead and fold it across the top with my fingers, just like I did before, and of course it's going to stick this time. Burnish that down. Go back, hit this. Okay. And I'm going to turn it around the other way and go ahead and put this down across the top of this one. Okay. Okay, then I'm going to pull off the side. I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to fold in that very corner. And then I'm going to go ahead and stick it down like I did the rest. And then once I get it down, I take my bone folder and I just burnish that corner really well. I really want it to stick good. So there's your corners. You have a nice 45 corner in there. If you cut it too short, then you're going to see your chipboard in the corner. So you really want to be sure you leave 1/4 of an inch when you cut that off. Go. Okay, we're going to do this one the same way. We're going to take our bone folder first and fold this corner in so it gets covered with the cardstock, and fold this corner in. And then we will there we go, just like that. Okay, so there we have a nice cover. Now, a lot of people just want to pick it up and fold it all the way in. You can do that to a certain extent, but I've known people that actually like to fold it all the way over. Don't do that, because your book's never going to get folded over that far. So there's this part of it, And then I've already got my 2 inside pieces cut, so one of these is longer than the other. And what I did that for, see, these should overlap. These are going to overlap just a little more than that 1/2 inch. But I did that because in the book, I wanted to take and have my seam be where the album ends. So this is our, let me get a hold of this. This is our album that goes in here. Okay, so this is going to go over here when we get it done, and I'm going to leave, you know, a 1/2 inch over there. So this is going to go here. So this way the seam of this is going to be under the edge of this, the spine of this, the book part of this. So therefore, one side, one piece is, I don't know, maybe a 1/2, 3/8 inch longer than the other. So the shorter of the 2 pieces, I'm going to put this way. And to do this, I'm going to go ahead and peel this section off. And I can get this, I can have room to play with this to get this where I want it to. Because I really don't like to have very much showing. I cut my paper an eighth of an inch smaller than what my book is. So if it's 9 inches tall, the paper is cut 8 7/8. So there's a tiny bit of a edge around there. Then I'm going to come in here and take off all of this tape. And one of the things you're going to have to do too is take off the tape down inside, down in here, because I actually do use my bone folder and work my paper down inside there. Whoops, peeled too, that didn't go very well. Let's do this. Okay. There, and that's as far as I'm going to take off. And then you can use either your craft knife, no, what am I thinking of? X-Acto knife, where the tip's something sharp that can just pull that up out of there. Okay, now let's pull off this part of it. Okay, and then just lay this puppy down. Once you get it stuck down really good, you can just kind of smooth it from the edge out. And again, I use my bone folder on its side, laying down, go over this. Okay, now I'm going to bring this over here, and we're going to do the same thing on this side. Except I'm going to turn it back around this way because it's easier for me to work this way. Okay, so I'm going to take this piece again. Now this is sticky, so I have to watch that. So but you know what you can do is you can also take and go ahead and cover it back up. Cover it up with the paper, and then you don't have to worry about it being sticking to it. Okay. So I can line up my paper here with this edge right here, and that's going to match. And that's going to match there. It's smoothed down really good. Okay, now I think before I go all that way this time, I'm going to get this out sooner. Okay, there. Now, we will get this off. out of the way. Now, I would say, and this is my personal preference again, because of the fact that we're going to be mounting a box on the inside cover that's got pockets in it, accordion pockets in it, that this should really be completely glued down, whether you use wet glue or whether you use score tape, because you're going to be putting a lot of pressure on that cover, because that's where your box is going to go glued to. It's going to go glued to the paper, so you want to make sure that your paper is down good. If your paper is not down good, then it's going to make the box is going to sag over time. So I would really be careful and cover it with lots of glue, so that when you glue that box to this piece of paper, that it is nice and secured inside. Okay, so we have this. This is the inside. So now I'm going to take, and I lightly fold. I see where this is denting in at, and I take my bone folder and I crease it as I fold it a little bit. And you might be thinking, wow, but that chipboard is so thick. It's okay. It works really good. It gives you a nice tight crease in there, and if you fold it as you're doing it, don't use the tip, because you're going to poke a hole down inside with this. I use this side here, and it sticks really good. So see, your seam is right here's your seam. So you've got about 1 3/4 on each side is going to be your seam. It's going to be covered up. It's not going to be a problem, but it makes a real nice edge here. So then I'm going to turn it around this way so I can do the same thing on the other side. And I just kind of push on it right where I think close to where it should be. And don't just fold it. Get your crease going, and then fold it and work it in as you go. It does make a difference on how your crease looks. So there's our book. And then I'll come out here and I will burnish again along this. This is along my chipboard edge here, my spine edge here, and I'll do the same thing over here. The chipboard and the spine, I will just, all I'm doing is making sure that all my score tape is stuck down really well. So there is our book. And yes, it's a 5.5 inch wide spine, but that's what you need by the time you get all these pieces in it. Okay. Then we have, this is the latch for the side. So these pieces, I'm going to set this off to the side. So these pieces, I'm going to take, and I've already cut these two. This is going to go in here. I obviously cut off just a little too short. So I'm going to end up, let's see, I'm just going to, because these are not double. These are just a single thickness of chipboard. And these are your flaps that come up on the side and have magnets on them. So I'm just going to peel this off. And I left it really long. Well, I can't say really long, but somewhat long, so that we didn't have to worry about the where you're going to stick it down in the book itself. What did I do with my, got to get this up. Okay, so I'm going to take this, I'm just going to kind of center it there. Okay, so that's down, and again, this one you only need to leave about 1/8 of an inch to cut these off. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I shouldn't have bent that one. Bend your long edges first, and again, tuck these around that corner. down both long edges first. See, I left an inch down here. This is where we're going to attach it to the book itself. And then you get that. Okay. Okay, so this is one flap, and that is sticky. So here's my other piece. Now, I'm taking and I'm putting both of these on. I'm going to create these. And then I'm going to put my magnets are going to go underneath the decorative paper. Let me see, I'm going to do this first. Pull that one off first. And I can't really do too much with moving this around simply because these are smaller pieces. Okay. So there's that part. I wanted my magnets only underneath the paper for the simple fact to give the most strength for them to connect for holding the book shut. Okay, so here's one, and the other one's going to be just done the same way. So this piece here is where I've left it to fold so that when it goes on the book. So we'll do the other one the same way. And this time, instead of peeling that off, I'll just won't peel it all off to begin with. We'll just stick this down. Makes everything less messy. And train it to go around like I did on the other one. So then fold this back. Okay. We're going to have to peel off this though. Okay. Round those corners, just push those corners in towards the edge. Okay. And then put this piece on. See, even though this is all sticky, leaving the back on the paper, it won't stick to it. Okay. So there we go. Okay, so those are our flaps. Those are down. And I'm not going to put these on just yet because they'll get in the way. So, but they're going to go on the edge of the book this way. That's the way they're going to go. And I put them on the outside so that they had something, because you could do the inside like this, but I think on the outside is better because your paper and stuff is going to be over it to help anchor it down. So this is going to go here. Let me see if I can. I'm going to make my camera shake. So I'll tap this one in with those two clips. So that one's going to go there. Then this one is going to come over here and go here. Make my camera shake because my clippies are clipped to my camera holder. Okay, so there's those. So those are going to go there, there, and then this is going to come down and go this way. So there is our, that's going to be our book. Doesn't that look huge? But by the time you put, here's our album part of the book, by the time you put this in it, and your box goes in here, you're all set. Okay, so I'm going to stop the camera and I'll be back to do the box.